Hi folks, how are you today? Hopefully you're doing great, stable, clear. Uh, I wanted to make a short video, the first one probably in many, about Shikantaza, or just sitting, what is often or what it actually means. The Japanese word Shikantaza means literally just sitting. That I have written about Shikantaza many times over the years, and I don't actually like to translate it as Buddha nature sitting. Buddha nature sitting. So, what I mean by that is that in sitting posture, in meditation posture, you are resting in Buddha nature, resting in the recognition of Buddha nature, our basic nature, our basic awareness, and its energy. Um, and um, I've seen over the years and heard different teachers talk about Shikantaza and explain the practice. Some teachers they don't really give any technical information about it much. Maybe some teachers they just refer to Zen Master Dogen's definition of Shikantaza and his writings about it, which is okay. You know, Dogen is a wonderful, wonderful master, was wonderful author. And some teachers like to explain Shikantaza, or they try to explain Shikantaza kind of from two perspectives, as a calm abiding practice, which is Shamata. Shamata is a universal Buddhist term which means calm abiding, uh, like staying calmly present, and this calm presence is usually, how do you say, brought about through concentration. So you focus on something, and then this calm abiding comes about. So some teachers do this, that they kind of give like a basic version of Shikantaza, which is actually Shamatha meditation. But I don't want to do that because I think that, well, I'm get to it in a moment, but I think that Shamatha meditation and recognition of Buddha nature are two very different things. Very different things. Little bit similar, kind of related, but very different things. Kind of like when you have a queen and a king, and then you have the queen's or king's cousin, who is also part of the royal family, but the cousin is not the queen or the king. Kind of like that. And then what I've seen many times over the years is that teachers they are confused about the real Shikantaza, real Buddha nature recognition, effortless recognition of Buddha nature. And you might also have seen this, heard this in talks, in videos nowadays in YouTube. And often teachers make the following mistake. So instead of, there are two basic versions of Shamatha meditation, two basic versions of this calm abiding or concentration meditation. And the first one is where you do the following. So you sit and you focus on something, one object of concentration. It usually is the movement of the breath. You can't see my belly, but I'm pointing and touching my lower belly. A point there 2 centimeters or 1 inch below the belly, and so it can be point in the belly, the movement of the breath in a certain point. It can be focusing on the movement of the breath in a bit larger area in the lower belly. In Theravada meditation systems, they often focus on the breath here at the bridge of the nose, so they feel the breath there. So sometimes in Tibetan systems, they might place like a small stone on a table or on a floor, and then the practitioner remains concentrated on that little stone or other object that it might be. So I call this intention, intention, concentration meditation, intention based meditation. So when you're focused on one object, whatever it is, it gradually, slowly, you learn to concentrate, focus, and it also calms you down. Hence, calm abiding. So this is the first type of shamatha meditation. And second type of shamatha meditation is where the object of focus is no longer like a one point or an object, but it is the space. I'm holding my hands around my body, around my head, and instead you're focused on this 360 degrees space around you. This is exactly often when I've explained this over the years is that you can see if you have a dog or a cat, when they suddenly hear something, a sound that they don't immediately recognize, they go all eyes and ears. They open their field of vision so that they can see the periphery of their vision, and they also go all ears. And if you do that, go all eyes, go all ears, and then relax while being aware of this 360 space around you, this is another type of shamatha meditation. And it is not recognition of Buddha nature. And this is the mistake that lots of teachers do. And it is actually understandable mistake, because if one hasn't advanced in wisdom meditation, emptiness meditation, one hasn't advanced through the many stages of emptiness meditation, then it is very easy mistake to make. So the way how I term these two types of shamatha is that when you're focusing on one thing, it's called intention meditation. Then this 360 degree space is attention, because they are different. You're putting intention into one thing, attention into the space around you. And these are the two types of shamatha that are not shikantaza, that are not recognition of Buddha nature. So one of the basic qualities or characteristics of Buddha nature is peacefulness, calmness. And in that sense, what you get out of concentration practices from either type of shamatha is that it calms you down, it gives you some peace. Okay, so in that sense, it is like the cousin of the king. But having said that, shamatha meditation also has limitations. And the main limitation is that you need to keep doing, you need to remain applying effort, keep applying effort, so that this calm, concentrated state stays. While the calmness and peacefulness, along with other important qualities such as clarity of mind, kindness, softfulness, aliveness of Buddha nature, it requires no sustained effort. The opposite, it is effortless. So um, so Buddha nature sitting is something that there's a very good reason why for many centuries up until quite recent times, uh, Zen masters of different lineages, um, they have emphasized the importance of Kensho and Satori. This, the way how I define Kensho and Satori is, first you go through Kensho stages, followed by Satori stages, leading to Daigo or Daigo Tete, and which leads to Buddhahood, Nyorai. So I wrote that long text, Revitalized Zen, that you can find from revitalizedzen.blogspot.com or from our Facebook group, Revitalized Zen, where I explain this, and I'm, getting in these videos, in this YouTube series, I'm getting into the details of this process more. But regarding this Buddha nature sitting or Shikantaza, I feel that when just sitting practice is given to practitioners on retreats in centers who aren't really capable of recognizing their basic state, and so that it is effortlessly sustained, then it becomes like this a bit weird and actually mistaken practice. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be beneficial to, I have to move my cat. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be beneficial in some sense, when you sit a lot of hours at home or on retreats, you get some benefit out of it. But, Zen practice isn't about just any benefits. The Zen path is a path to becoming a living Buddha, realizing your Buddha nature and establishing it in both body and mind, so that the delusions, self-delusion of the mind drops off, and then also the body drops off. So it is not just any practice, and I think that this is a very, how to say, widespread problem in today's Zen, that it is not very clear what the whole tradition, what the heart of the tradition, and what the purpose of the practices and the practice method is. It has been lost over time. If it hadn't been lost, we would have living Buddhas, Zen teachers, Zen masters, plenty in many Zen centers and training places around the world. But this is not the case, is it? So, I've met maybe 2-3 dozen Zen teachers and Zen masters over the years, and only one of them was a living Buddha, and that was Tangen Roshi. But the rest were not. And here I'm talking about, at least a dozen like older Zen masters who I've also met, but they were not, who had been teaching, practicing for many decades and teaching for 2-3 decades at least. But they were not even close to having realized, having established Buddha nature fully, not even near to that. So I think that there is a lot of confusion about the purpose of Zen, and people. What is brilliant in Zen tradition is that this work ethic. Zen Buddhists really work hard on the cushion. They sit a lot, and the sessions, retreats are very intense. So, this is wonderful aspect of Zen, but if you're working with practices and techniques that are not effective, might be only little relevant to the process of awakening and enlightenment, or might be altogether irrelevant, how do you say, irrelevant, ineffective. This is a big question that I think that big problem in Zen today, and it absolutely needs to be corrected, because if it is not corrected, if Zen is not revitalized, if Zen doesn't evolve, then it will die like many other types of Buddhist schools over the centuries. You know, has been so many Buddhist traditions and schools that have vanished and died, disappeared. And this could have happened to, well, I think that not only to Zen Buddhism in the world, but traditional forms of Dharma in general, because especially here in the modern West, people want to see, people don't, and rightly so, people don't just believe in things just because it has been done for centuries. They want to see results. They want to know if the practice is effective or not. Because if it isn't, if there are no clear results from the practice from the beginning, there's too big of an element of faith. Okay, so this needs to be corrected. So, but coming back to Buddha nature sitting and Shikantaza just sitting, here is what it looks like. And this is not focusing on a thing, focusing on 360 space. This is non-dimensional awareness. Buddha nature. Buddha nature is not a thing, though all things and beings have their presence, existence in it. And you cannot really see, recognize, understand this Buddha nature, this basic awareness, if your mind is stuck in functioning of the samsaric, self-based, self-centered thoughts and habits. So, our body and our mind are three-dimensional bodies. Our physical body is three-dimensional, and also our mind. This is not really discussed in Zen that much, but we do have something called an energy field or an aura. And that energy field is our mind. That's where the thinking, feeling, all these energetics happen, in our energy field. So this is where the samsaric wheel keep spinning in this energy field of ours, and it also affects our physical body. And so, what is really important in the beginning of practice is that we learn to separate, we learn to recognize the pure qualities of our mind, which means our Buddha nature. We kind of learn to recognize what is the light, what is the source of light in our being. And when we first learn to do that, then we have, it's kind of like I have lights lit in my room. Then you have the lights lit, and then from there you can start looking into the samsaric, self-based delusions and negative habits and patterns. So you first have to switch on the light. If you don't have that illumination that comes with first recognizing the pure qualities, then you just remain in your murky mind that easily gets drowsy. This happens a lot every day in traditional Zen practice. You have this murky, unclear, drowsy mind, and when you're in it, in the middle of it, it is very difficult to, very ineffective to start making, making sense of that murky stuff. And this is actually very important. Another point is that thoughtless state may or may not be Buddha nature. So this is I will get to it perhaps later, but Shakyamuni Buddha and the patriarchs after him have made it perfectly clear that it is, if we say that the thoughtless state is our true state or Buddha nature, this is an incomplete description. Whether we have thoughts, emotions, energetics or not, in both there is Buddha nature. There is the clarity in thought or in the absence of thought. There is the aliveness at all times in thought, in the absence of thought, in emotion, in absence of emotion. And there is peacefulness, groundedness in thought, in the absence of thought, in energetics or absence of energetics. Same basic nature at all times, in all activities and functions of the mind, and also actually of the body. All right. Thank you very much, folks. You're welcome to leave comments below the video. You're welcome to join Revitalized Zen in Facebook, and you're welcome to leave questions, comments, whatever you want to share. Session dates for 2025 are coming this week. Thank you. See you later. Cheers.